So enterprises are producing greater amounts of information than ever before, and we have data analysts and business analysts and data scientists who are building insights and driving business decisions with that information. But getting data from source to the data consumers is a slow manual process driven by trial and error. Usually what happens is a business analyst has to make a request to IT for data, and the queue of requests in IT's system is really long, and since the process to prepare the data is mostly manual, it really takes a long time. So it sets up this bottleneck of finding the right data. Often what happens is analysts end up using the data they already know about because it just takes too long to get new data for their business intelligence tools. This means that the analytics are based on only a tiny fraction of the enterprise information. So what happens is that this whole process just doesn't scale. There will always be more data and more demand for data, but this bottleneck is just getting worse. So these are the main challenges to data source discovery. The process for getting access to data and content is too slow. According to Forrester, 80% of any analytics initiative is spent on data integration. And within that 80%, another 80% of the effort is spent just identifying and profiling data sources. So 80% of 80% gives us the 64% number on this slide. So if you think about it, more than half of the process is just gathering data sources for analysis. Not only is that process slow and manual, but it doesn't surface the best information. Gartner estimates that by 2017, 90% of information assets in a typical enterprise will be inaccessible. We call this dark data. So if business analysts are only looking at 10% of the data that they know about, then they're probably not giving the best answers to their business questions. And without data self-service, there are bottlenecks in the process. Business analysts just don't have the tools to get the data they need, so they have to make the request to IT. IT doesn't have the business context, so it's hard for them to deliver the best data sets. They have to rely on trial and error. These mutual dependencies create costly bottlenecks. So Attivio addresses these challenges with self-service data source discovery. So if you see the diagram on the screen, there's data storage at the bottom of the diagram and the applications that use data at the top of the diagram. Between these two layers is the bottleneck, where 80% of the time and effort of a typical analytics project takes place in data discovery and integration. Attivio profiles data across silos, instantly identifies the right information for analysis, and unifies disparate sources into a data model to provision to BI and analytics tools. So in today's webinar, we're going to focus in on the first of these three steps, the profile step. To get started with the profile step, Attivio spiders across all types of data sources. It could be Hadoop, a data warehouse, or file shares. It doesn't really matter what the data source is.